Hi everyone, this is Dr. Madhuri from Team MDS Conquer. So we'll see the muscles of mastication in this video. These are the contents which you have to include in your answer, which includes from the introduction to the references, and along with this anatomy part, you have to write few applied aspects also here. Coming to the muscle introduction, it is a tissue which composed of the contractile cells, and this group of muscle fibers will bound together by a connective tissue. So you have to write a little bit introduction about the muscle. Then muscles of mastication are of two types classification, that is primary muscles of mastication and the accessory muscles of mastication. If you take the primary muscles of mastication, they are masseter, temporalis, lateral pterygoid and medial pterygoid, whereas if you take the accessory muscles of mastication, it includes digastric, buccinator, mylohyoid and the genohyoid muscles. So these are the primary and the accessory muscles which you have to include in the answer. Then again, there is another classification where that can be classified functionally. Okay, they are jaw elevators and the jaw depressor. Jaw elevators will be like masseter temporalis, medial pterygoid, upper head of the lateral pterygoid. Whereas jaw depressors includes lower head of the lateral pterygoid, anterior digastric, genohyoid, and the mylohyoid muscles. So this is the second classification for the muscles of mastication. So you can see here in the picture, this is the depression, and whereas this is the elevation of the muscle. Then coming to the temporalis muscle, so you have to include the side headings like origin of the muscle, insertion of the muscle, then the vascular supply. Okay. So if you take the temporalis, origin will be of your temporal fossa and the temporal fascia. You can see here temporal fossa is the origin. Okay, and temporal fascia also. This is the temporalis temporal bone. Then insertion will be of your medial aspect of the coronoid process. So you can see here this temporalis insertion here into the coronoid process, and also the anterior border of the ramus of the mandible. So you can see here. Then coming to the arterial supply of this temporal muscle, it includes the deep temporal branches which comes from the external carotid artery. So you have to mention the maxillary artery also, it is important. Then coming to the nerve supply, this nerve supply will be of deep temporal nerves, which are the which comes from the anterior division of the mandibular nerve. Actions. So it will elevate the muscle. You can see here, it will elevate the muscle. And also the posterior fibers will protrude the mandible and helps in side-to-side grinding movement of the mandible. So any muscle, anything in the anatomical part, you have to mention in the side endings like its origin, insertion, blood supply, nerve supply, and finally the actions of the muscles are very important. Then coming to the masseter muscle, it has two parts, superficial part and the deep part. You can see that superficial part originates from the anterior two-thirds of the zygomatic process of the maxilla. So you can see here this superficial is arise from the zygomatic arch. Okay, whereas deep part will be medial aspect of the zygomatic arch. So this is the deep part which help from the deep medial aspect of the zygomatic arch. Then coming to the insertion will be of lateral surface of the ramus of the mandible. So here this is the insertion on the ramus and coronoid process of the maxilla. Then arterial supply with the masseteric artery, which is a branch of maxillary artery, and the nerve supply will be of masseteric branch, which is of nerve of a mandibular branch, anterior division of the mandibular branch. Then coming to the actions, it will elevate the mandible, whereas when the mandible is protruded when the biting forces is applied, it will also the fibers of the deep portion will stabilize the condyle. So these are the two actions of the masseter muscle. Then we'll go with the lateral pterygoid now. Lateral pterygoid, it has two heads, right? Upper head and lower head. Upper head will arise from the infratemporal surface and infratemporal crust of the greater wing of the sphenoid bone. So this is the upper head. So you can see here, this is the greater head and infratemporal crust. Okay, so this from these two that will arise like infratemporal crust, that or upper head will origin, whereas lower head from the lateral surface of the lateral pterygoid plate. So you can see here, lateral surface of the lateral pterygoid plate. Then insertion will be into the pterygoid fovea on the anterior surface of the neck of the mandible. This is pterygoid fovea, and also into the articular eminence and the disc of the TMJ. So there in that there will be insertion. If you take the nerve supply, it is with the mandibular nerve, and the arterial supply will be of lateral pterygoid, which is a branch of maxillary artery. Then coming to the actions will be like depression, protrusion, and side-to-side movement. Then coming to the medial pterygoid muscle origin will be from the tuberosity of the maxilla, whereas deep, this is the superficial head, whereas deep head from the medial surface of the lateral pterygoid head. You can see the medial pterygoid, deep head. Okay, and this is the superficial head of the medial pterygoid. Then insertion into the rough surface of the medial side of the angle of the mandible. Okay. So you can see here medial pterygoid muscle. Then coming to the actions, elevates the mandible, helps in the protrusion, and right medial pterygoid and left lateral pterygoid turn the chin to the side to side movement. So in this muscles of mastication, the important thing you have to notice, you have to write which elevates the mandible and which depresses the mandible. Those 2 points are important. Starting we have seen that. Then coming to the digastric muscle, it has two bellies, anterior belly and the posterior belly. Okay, this anterior belly will arise from the first pharyngeal arch. You can see here, digastric. Whereas the posterior belly will arise from the second pharyngeal arch and the mastoid notch of the temporal bone. So this is the posterior belly of the digastric arch, digastric muscle. Then coming to the insertion, both the bellies will unite and the intermediate and tendon, and it is attached to the hyoid bone. So this is the hyoid bone. So both the bellies come and insert into the hyoid bone. Then coming to the nerve supply of this, anterior belly is supplied by the mylohyoid nerve, whereas posterior belly is supplied by the facial nerve. And if you take the blood supply, anterior belly is by the facial artery, and the posterior belly of digastric is the occipital artery. Then coming to the actions, these will have a secondary role in the mastication. That means digastric muscles. Okay, primary role will be of your temporalis muscle, masseter muscle, and the lateral and medial pterygoid. Whereas this digastric will have the secondary role, and it will elevate the hyoid bone and depress the mandible. Then coming to the buccinator will origin from the pterygomandibular raphe. So this is the pterygomandibular raphe and this is a buccinator. So it will originate from this here. Whereas insertion, it will into the fibers of the orbicular oris. Then coming to the blood supply is from the pterygoid, that is the secondary part of the maxillary artery, whereas nerve supply will the buccal branch of facial nerve. Actions will, it will pull back the angle of the mouth, which makes the flattened cheek and also aids in the whistling and smiling. Remember, buccinator helps in whistling and smiling. You have to mention that point. Then coming to the mylohyoid muscle originates from the mylohyoid line to the mandible. Okay, then and also from the anterior and middle fibers are inserted into the median raphe, whereas posterior fiber inserts into the hyoid bone. So it has three fibers, anterior, middle, and the posterior. Anterior and middle will into the median raphe, whereas posterior fibers will inserts into the hyoid bone. Then coming to the nerve supply, mylohyoid nerve, branch of mandibular nerve, blood supply is by sublingual artery, which is a branch of lingual artery. Then action, it elevates the hyoid bone and also elevates the floor of the mouth during first stage of deglutition. Is very important. So this muscle even helps in the deglutition. Then coming to the genohyoid muscle origin will be into the inferior mantle spine and the insertion will be anterior surface of the body of hyoid bone. So you can see here, So this is the geniohyoid muscle, okay, present here, which inserts into the hyoid bone. The nerve supply will be of through hypoglossal nerve, and the blood supply will be of sublingual artery of lingual artery, branch of a lingual artery. Actions will be, it will elevate the hyoid bone, and also if then the hyoid bone is fixed, it will depresses the mandible. So these are all the anatomical aspects of the muscles of mastication, and you have to end your answer with the applied aspects. So I have mentioned few applied aspects which you have to write in your exam. So you can make a note of it. So first you have to write the clinical examination. That means how the muscles of mastication are examined in your dental department. And these all the other disease states, like you can write about the hypertrophy of the masseter muscle, and the tetanus, which involves the tetanus symptoms and the signs where the muscles of mastication are involved, and trismus, which involves secondary due to our LA injection, then myasthenia gravis, which is an autoimmune disorder where you can see the involvement of this muscles of mastication, myospasm, myositis, which can be caused due to forceful extraction. So what is the treatment plan for the myospasm? Then tension headache. In this tension headache also, you can see that the masseter muscle and the temporalis muscles can be involved. And bruxism patients also, you'll see that the muscle pain and the muscle sprain also. So again, the main important thing you can mention is myofascial pain dysfunction syndrome. And again, in that thing, you can write about the TENS therapy treatment. Then the referred pain, the muscle, I mean like the orofacial pain, which will trigger, which will refers to the muscles of mastication, and the trigger points, like if you see the trigeminal neuralgia or other orofacial pain, you can see the trigger points over the facial region, like in the masseter region. So you can write. So these are like clinical aspects, and even you can include the radiological aspect of this muscles of mastication, like heterotopic calcifications like cysticercosis, which is a very important calcification you can see in the masseter muscle, whereas heterotopic ossifications, that which includes the myositis ossificans, which involves the masseter muscle. So these are like important features, radiological features, which you can mention over here. And also finally you can write about few important diagnostic procedures like EMG. EMG means electromyography, which is mostly useful for the muscle function. It is a muscle function test. So you can mention about the EMG, MRI. Then in MRI, how the muscle, because MRI is a very useful for the soft tissue radiological examination. So you can see all these muscles of mastications in the MRI. So you can mention the important points in the MRI. Then finally the CT, as a CT, in CT also you can see, note these muscles of mastication, the soft tissue densities. You can even mention the CT in the applied aspects. So that's all guys. This is the entire anatomical part of the muscles of mastication along with your applied aspects. Don't forget to mention all the applied aspects, because applied aspects will fetch you more points. Okay. And in the reference part, lastly, you can include all your basic anatomical textbooks and your physiology textbook, and also your oral medicine and the radiology textbooks also. Okay. Thank you guys.